What's up, everybody? You're back with Catching Out Neighborhood Heroes. First, I want to say is Happy Thanksgiving. It's a great week, and I hope you guys all enjoy it with your families. Please stay safe tomorrow night, Thanksgiving Eve. It's very important for this community. Second, I want to say, Mo, thank you so much for coming on with me, brother. It was an absolute blast, and I learned so much from you, just in life. And if any of you guys, this was probably maybe some of your guys' first time seeing Mo through this podcast, if you see him out at like a football game or Acme or wherever, say hello, introduce yourself, because he's such a good dude to be around and just shares positivity. So, Mo, I really do appreciate you coming on with me. Third, I got winter beanies coming out sometime this week, so check social media for that official drop. I want to get some merch out there. So, again, happy Thanksgiving, go Birds, and I hope you guys enjoy this one.
Watching football, watching families grow, the old kids' table, all have kids of their own, starting to see.
All right, guys, welcome back. I believe this is episode 5 now, and I'm sitting here with the legendary Moe Thank. I know a lot of people, especially my generation, play at the Moe at Garnet Valley, and the stadium is named after this guy sitting next to me right now. And I kind of had him on because, I mean, he did a lot for Garnet Valley, and I've always just heard good things from him. So it's an honor that you're here. Thank you so much for giving your time, and let's have a good time.
Thank you.
No nerves. We're all good, man.
Oh, okay. All
right.
Good.
So I first kind of want to rip into your childhood. Yeah. And where you grew up, because I was asking my pops, I was like, did Mo go to Garnet Valley High School, or I didn't know where you grew up. So I was kind of curious on your childhood, your siblings, what area you grew up. So if you could hit on that a little bit, that would be awesome.
Sure. I grew up right here in Boothwyn.
Okay.
First 2 years of my life. And at the age of 2, we moved to Chester, Pennsylvania. We lived there for 7 years, and then we moved back to Boothwyn.
Oh, wow.
My grandfather had a 45-acre farm, and I basically lived for the first 2 years of my life on that farm, and then we moved to Chester, moved back. Went to Chichester High School.
Okay. Did you play any sports there?
Played 3 sports.
What
football,
sports did you play?
basketball, and baseball.
Oh, wow. Football, basketball, and baseball?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Which one was your favorite?
In high school, basketball.
High school basketball?
I love basketball, yeah.
Could you yam it?
No, I was too small. I was too small for it.
So when you're going through sports, did you, or even high school, did you know that you wanted to go to college at that moment in your life? Did you go to college?
I went to college,
okay,
but did not know that I wanted to go to college.
Okay.
That's an interesting story. When I was about, well, I guess my junior or senior year in high school, I had an uncle over visiting, and he happened to ask, what are you going to do when you graduate? And in my mind, there were 2 things that I was very interested in. I wanted to continue in some way to be active in athletics and sports.
Right.
I wanted to drive an 18-wheeler truck.
Mm.
And when I said that, my dad heard that, and my dad being an old-fashioned Italian, and we had what I would call a very short conversation. And the conversation went, "You're going to college," and I said, "Okay."
It's kind of how it went back then, right?
That's kind of how it went.
And so you're going through the college search. Did your dad already have like a college picked out?
No. Mom and Dad were old timers.
Okay.
Italians, and they didn't go any higher than 5th grade in school.
Oh, wow.
So we had a teacher at Chichester. I went to Chichester High School.
Right.
With Len Rickey, Coach Rickey's dad.
Yeah, he's one of your
boys,
right?
We went all through junior high and senior high together. We had a teacher, and he was our junior high coach. His name was Milt Calicman. When he knew that I wanted to go to college, and Len and I wanted to go he took us up to Westchester.
Wow.
He introduced us to the dean of men up there, Dean Killinger, who actually was the head football coach and head baseball coach. And that's where we ended up going.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
Did you and Len went there?
We both went to we were roommates at Westchester, all through junior and senior high, and senior high school together, and then roommates for 3.5 years up there.
Wow. So what did you study at Westchester?
Health and phys ed.
Health and phys ed.
Right.
And did you know that going into college that's what you want to do?
Well, when my dad, basically when my father said, you're going to college, and I knew, hey, the 18-wheeler was out, I knew I wanted to be involved with sports, athletics. And what better way to teach health and phys ed and do some coaching.
That's perfect. So did you work with the football team and the baseball team there at Westchester?
I work with them, you mean?
Did you assess them? Did you help them out, like training? Did you work
Oh, no.
on them?
I was a student there at Westchester.
Okay. I didn't know if you were like a student trainer.
No.
Okay, got you.
No.
Because at Shippensburg, when I went there, we had student trainers where they were studying, but at the same time working with the football team. So that's why I was just curious.
Athletic training was never entered my mind at the time.
Oh, wow.
No. Basically, I wanted to be a coach.
Okay. Football coach?
I wanted to coach as many as I could.
Right. That was just your passion then.
Yeah.
Wow. So you graduated Westchester. What year was that?
59.
59. And then what was your next move after college?
My next move was trying to find a job, obviously.
Right.
And I ended up down in Georgetown, Delaware.
Okay.
I got a call from a friend of mine that had graduated from Westchester with me. He had gotten a job at a school called Millsboro, which was just south of Georgetown.
Okay.
Called me and told me that there was a vacancy. And I went down, interviewed for the job. But, what happened was the guy that was there was their baseball coach. And he left, go somewhere. And I had been on the baseball team at Westchester for 3 years. Got the job teaching. They didn't need a health and phys ed teacher at the time. They needed a science teacher. And I had a minor in science.
Wow.
That was automatic.
Right.
So I was teaching science, junior high science, and I started out, I was the JV basketball coach and head baseball coach.
Oh, perfect. So exactly what you kind of want to do.
Really.
So if it wasn't for that double major, a major and a minor in science, do you think you would be able to still be at that school?
I don't know. I really don't know. I know they were in need of. They really needed a baseball coach. And baseball down in the lower end of the state of the Delaware was big. I was lucky that I got the job.
Okay.
I was fortunate.
No, I was just curious because I know a lot of kids out there. They have the opportunity to either double major or have a minor. Where you did health and fitness, and then you minored in science. That's kind of different. That's just different. Where I wish more kids would know when they're going through school, okay, yeah, you can take the easy route of just doing one major.
Well, with the health and phys ed program at Westchester at the time, your courses were geared so that you had an automatic minor in science.
Oh, perfect.
But then we were able to take another minor, which I took driver education as a minor also. So we had a major in health, physical education, recreation, a minor in science, and a minor in driver education.
That opens up so many opportunities.
So many doors.
Right. So anyone out there that's going through college right now, I know school is not for everyone, and you just don't really enjoy it sometimes. The main thing I want to get across is that more degrees or more opportunities. So a minor, or not degrees, but more professions in college where you get a minor in science and you got a minor in driving. It opens up more doors.
Exactly.
So that's why I kind of that's the main part of this whole podcast. So I want to help the younger kids where they're going through college and they're just oh man, maybe I could do the same thing Moe did. You know what I mean? Right. So no, I appreciate you sharing that story. And
and to get back to that question, obviously they needed baseball coach, but they needed someone to teach science. Now, if I didn't have that science major, I probably might not have gotten that job.
Right. That's wild. So when you were, how long were you coach? How long were you there for?
I was there for 9 years.
9 years. Wow.
And my second year, I got the job as the assistant football coach
Okay.
and the head basketball coach and the head baseball coach.
Wow. So you were busy.
I was busy.
Damn.
And after about 5 years, my wife, we had 2 children, so
Okay.
I gave up baseball so I could spend more time with my family.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what that's what you got to do at
Yes.
that point in your life. So you're there for 9 years. Great experience.
Great experience. Loved the place.
Loved it.
It was great. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had.
And that was Chichester.
No, that was Georgetown.
Georgetown. That's right. That's right.
Georgetown,
You're right.
Delaware.
Yeah. That's on me. So wow, that's wild. So going off of that, so what did you end up doing after Georgetown?
There was a situation happened in 1966. My dad was doing some construction work. He was knocking down a building on a bulldozer. The building collapsed on him, and he lost his life.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
Well, yeah, that was a long time ago. It was a tough time. So, for 2 years, my mother. She was the type of woman. She was an old-fashioned Italian woman. Never worked outside the house. She took care of the house and the family. Did a great job doing that. So I told my wife, I said, somehow we have to get back to Delaware County. We've got to help my mom. So for 2 years, I was in Georgetown coaching, teaching, and on weekends, my dad had this contracting business along with other things that he did, and with his brother, my uncle. So I was coming back every weekend to work with my uncle to provide money for my mom.
Wow.
And finally, in 1968, my wife and the kids and I were up with my mom and my in-laws for Easter break. And I got a call from Fred Schmidt, good friend. He went to Westchester with me, very, very good friend. His son teaches at the middle school now, Michael.
Oh, wow.
Told me that there was an opening at Garner Valley. And he had set up an interview for me.
Closer to your mom.
Because of my mom.
Right.
So reluctantly in a way, I had to leave Georgetown. And we moved. I got the job at Garner Valley. Turned out to be another great experience.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. I'm a lucky man. I had 2 very, very good school districts to work for. So
That's a wild story. Wow. So going through that, so did it take in some used to being at Garner Valley? A whole new atmosphere.
it did for a while. It was a new school. And interesting story when he told me, we were up for Easter break and he calls me and tells me about this interview he had set up. I never heard of Garner Valley. I mean, the school
Right.
was not even around when I left Delaware County to get down to Georgetown. So he said, well, I asked myself, Fred, where is it? He said, well, it's right off Bethel Road. I said, okay. So I get on. I'm familiar with the area because I lived in this area all my life, basically. So I get on Bethel Road down below Francis Harvey Green, where old Francis Harvey Green School used to be. And I'm driving, and I come all the way up to Smith Bridge, and I don't see any school. I saw the Concord Elementary School that we used to be there. I drive all the way back down. Can't believe I can't find this school. So I drive up again. I'm thinking, well, there's a driveway going down. So let me try. And sure enough, I go down. There's the school.
Wow.
I almost missed the interview because I couldn't find the school.
Wow, that's great. So how different did Garner Valley look then compared to now?
Oh, you wouldn't believe it.
Is it unreal?
It was unreal, yeah. When I got there, the head football coach was a fellow by the name of Hank Vary,
Okay.
who I knew. We went to Westchester together.
Wow, small world.
So I got the job as the assistant football coach with him and track coach. Taught coach track for a couple of years and was with him for 3. I'll tell you a story about how different it was. When all of our track meets were away because we didn't have a track. So for practices, what we did, each year
Right.
for track, I took my car and I would drive up to the field. Now, at that time, we used to have these metal poles stuck in these concrete blocks, and they would run a rope through them, and that was basically to keep the crowd back.
Right.
So I would drive my car around the outside of the football field, and we put one of those poles down, and we drive to mark off a quarter mile.
Wow. You got to get it done somehow, right?
And that's how we figured out we have a quarter mile. We didn't have a track. The layout was so much different. The school,
The shack.
there was no shack.
Really?
There was no shack. Matter of fact, I was totally surprised when I came up. Our first practice. Now Hank told me, "Don't be surprised," but I was. They had no junior high football. There was no Brandywine youth football. The kids coming
You're good.
kids coming to varsity football were coming from a junior high soccer program. So that when they came in, this was 7 through 12 at the time. So when they came into 10th grade, they had their choice of either playing varsity soccer or varsity football.
But none of them played football.
None of them had played football before that.
Wow.
Now, there was a lot of talent, but no experience. And it was interesting. It was
I
really
bet.
interesting.
Bunch of characters.
It was there were some,
Yeah.
but they were great kids.
Great kids.
That really, I can't say they were any different than the kids I'm seeing now. The attitude, the determination, the will to play, except for the experience.
Right.
And it took a while. So I can say this, that maybe a lot of people don't realize, but from those early years, from that football team, we had the very first all-Delco athlete coming from Garnet Valley, a fellow by the name of Frank Thompson, who was our center for the years, the season 68 and 69.
Wow.
Or 69. Yeah, 68, 69, something. 68 and 69. We also had several of the first Garnet Valley graduates to play football at the college level. A fellow by the name of George Watkins, who went to Gettysburg, Rich Kirby and Gary Anderson, who went to Westchester.
Wow.
We had the very first track, or very first athlete to represent Garnet Valley at the state level, a fellow by the name of Ken Snell, in track. So there was talent there.
Right.
And even before I came, Hank told me that there was talent. But when you're coming from a soccer player, you've been playing soccer all those years, and
Right.
you're coming to football. That's a whole different game.
100%.
Wow. Anyone that's played the game knows that. It was tough for them, but they.
So through the years, you have seen the feeder programs just build.
Oh my goodness!
How incredible has that been watching
Oh,
that?
it's just been unbelievable.
Oh my gosh, that's
just been
so different now.
Yes,
Wow.
it really has.
So during that time when you were coaching, were you the trainer as well?
Okay, now that takes me back to Georgetown.
Okay.
There were two influences that kind of got me thinking about training. One was we had a doctor. His name was Al Wahlberger, Dr. Wahlberger. He was our team doctor. He was our family doctor. He delivered my two children. He actually arranged his schedule, his office schedule, so that he could be at almost every football. He loved football, so he could be at almost every football practice and every football game. which was great. I watched him. He was like a mentor to me. I watched him, and so that, and I, with my health. Now, when you talk about the health program at Westchester, you're talking about anatomy, physiology, and you're talking about chemistry, nutrition, biology, kinesiology. We had all these, so I had a background. But with his knowledge, I mean, it was that kind of tilted me.
Right.
Also, when I was coaching, there were no athletic trainers at the high school level back then. So that, and I had this happen, you have an injury that might be a little serious, more so than just a little sprained ankle. Yeah. Now you have a situation where, okay, do I leave this kid, do I leave this the team rather and take this kid to the hospital or whatever, or do I send somebody to call somebody to take him and stay with you? It's kind of, so around, I guess, the mid-'60s, I took an athletic training course at the University of Delaware under Dr. Roy Rylander for the purpose of helping me with my own team, with my own players. And that kind of grew on me.
You liked it?
I did.
You did, yeah. Because the reason why I bring it up, because before this interview, I did some research and I searched your name on Facebook, Moe Defrank. Mm-hmm. And there's this Garnet Valley PA message board, Facebook, whatever group, and I looked up your name. Oh my God, the amount of great things that I saw, you probably didn't even see, it was unreal. It was, every comment was like, Moe was there for me in this situation. Moe was there for me in this situation. I was just like, man, like, how good of a dude was this guy? Like, where they said, like, in certain situations, like, you weren't even the trainer at the time, and someone got hurt, and you were there right away, like, taping them up or doing this, and I was just like, wow. So, like, that's why I'm so happy that you're here, because it's such an honor, but that's why, like, going off of what you were just saying, I mean, it took some time for you to turn into a trainer, where I thought when you went to Garnet Valley, you were athletic trainer right away.
No.
So that's why I'm happy we're here talking about it, because I never knew that.
Well, as I was coaching, when I got to Garnet Valley, and I was those 3 years that I was coaching, I was helping out. I was doing some athletic training, like on the side, for some of the basketball players, the baseball players, or whatever. Anyone. It was rewarding.
Right.
So.
Wow. So going off of that. How important were your students at Garnet Valley when you were there?
Let me put it this way. When I left my home to go to work, I wasn't going to work. I was going to my second home. And the students and the faculty was my second family. And that's how I felt about it.
And you loved your job.
They were that important to me.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I felt that same way when I was at Georgetown.
You just enjoyed every moment.
Oh, I did, yeah. I was always amazed by people that would say, well, I'd get up in the morning and say, oh, I hate to go to work today. I never had that. Never had that experience. It was always, I'm ready. I just couldn't wait to get there.
That's so amazing. Yeah. Wow, that is the goal.
Yeah, really.
It really is.
I mean, and if that's the situation for you, if you're not happy, find another job. Right. Find something that you enjoy doing. You really do.
That's a good statement right there.
Yeah.
Really, for the youngins out there, I mean, a lot of guys are coming out of college right now, and the first thing they're trying to do is just get a job, and they don't know if they're going to like it or not. And then it's always about taking that risk where if you're not enjoying the job, then you take that risk while you're young and finding something you actually like. And it's hard. It's hard to do it in today's world. So that's amazing that you found something that you truly enjoyed.
I really did. Yeah. Transitioning from coaching to training, I loved coaching, believe me. But the athletic training was so rewarding. Yeah, and then again, I guess it was 1970, 71. Right after the end of my third year coaching at Garnet Valley, 1970, the administration decided they were not going to rehire Hank Barry for whatever reason. And I thought, well, okay, this is my time to retire from coaching. I had done it. I mean,
You put your time in.
I put my time in. I
Right.
had coached 4 sports for a lot of time, a lot of years. I went back to Westchester and took the athletic training course with with Phil Donnelly at Westchester. Spent a lot of time with clinics and really got involved with the athletic training. Talked to the athletic director, who was Dick Snyder at the time, and Hank Barry was not only the football coach, but he was the head of our phys ed department.
Okay.
Talked to those 2 guys, and asked them if they would approach the administration and the board and talk to them about a full-time athletic trainer. There were none at the high school level in Delaware County at that time. They did, and the school board was 100% for it, and that's how I got the athletic training job.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a wild story right there.
It was,
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason.
Right, for
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
So what year did you retire from Garnet Valley?
I retired in 93.
93.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when did they declare the stadium after your name?
And that was in 01.
01. And how big of a day was that? How special was that?
That was beyond belief.
One of the best days of your life?
Absolutely. It was something that never entered my mind. Just really, and I'm being perfectly honest with you. That never entered my mind that something like that would happen. Because everything that I did because I wanted to do it. I loved it. You can't imagine. It's hard to explain. I try to explain to people what it's like to be in that training room. You spend the day in the classroom and you're teaching and you're talking to these kids, and some of them are there because they have to be there,
Right.
Yeah,
for sure.
And you, of course, you have those kids that are there because they want to, but those kids coming into the training room are there because they want to be on that team. And boy, you have a relationship. You develop relationships with these kids. You're there and you're talking to them like you're never talking to them in a classroom.
Right. You're friends with them.
You become
yeah.
And they're talking to you and you're listening, and that's important. Listen to people. Be a good listener. If there's anything I can suggest to you in your life, be a good listener. And it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, that's a good point. A good listener, because that's something I need to work on. Just listen. It's hard to because you always just kind of want to get your point across, but at the same time, you got to hear someone else out. And sometimes, I know I'm not the best at it. Where in certain situations, I could definitely listen more. So that was a good message right there for sure. So I also wanted to ask you, how cool was it seeing Len's son, Mike, come up in the Garnet Valley?
Oh, I'll never forget the day he came up and introduced himself. I had been away from Delaware County for 9 years, and Len and I had gotten apart, my very good friends. When he came up, we're standing in the driveway coming down from Bethel Road.
Right.
And ready to go in for the first day. And he came up and introduced himself. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
How funny was
Here
it?
comes Len Ricky's kid, Mike Ricky. And what a pleasure.
For sure.
And what a job he and the coaches have done with those. His program, unbelievable.
How proud are you?
So proud. Just, I can't explain it.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
can't explain it.
And it's crazy compared to the stories you were talking about. There's no feeder programs to Garnet Valley football now. It's just a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
And it started with you, went to Mike, and that's just.
You know what the nice thing about that was? I actually, as a trainer, got to work with Mike for several years before I retired.
Really?
Yeah, I got to work with every Garnet Valley coach except Eric.
Wow.
Hank Barry was the start. Then Bill Hutchinson came in. Then Barry Stevenson. Pat Patterson took it for 1 year.
That's right. Yep.
When Mike went to Widener, and then Mike comes in and takes it.
Wow. Yeah, I forgot all those guys in between you and Mike. Obviously,
It was quite a
journey.
Oh, it's been a journey, and I don't miss going to Valley games. I'm so happy, so proud of what I've seen develop over the years. One of the things I've told Mike and Eric is carrying it on. I've never seen the Garnet Valley team hang their heads. They're always ready. They never give up. They play it the way it's supposed to be played. There's sportsmanship. There's never a cheap shot. They do it the right way, and it's just a
great program.
It's just a great feeling to watch them play a game.
100%.
It really is.
And it carries through life too. Like all
absolutely.
the life lessons you learn from Garnet Valley football, it transitions into college, to the real world where you hear it in high school and like coach is getting on you for something, but then like you're at my age, 24, and it's like, wow, this is what coach told me like 8 years ago. You know what I mean?
Resonates, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I'm
does.
like, wow, I'm actually the one that was in the wrong there. You know what I mean? So going from the name being, or the stadium being named after you, and you seeing Coach Ricky grow up as well throughout the program. What throughout this whole, how was your family supporting you through all this?
I have to tell you, I am so blessed that my children and my wife put up with the hours that I put in.
Right.
Because when I was the full-time athletic trainer, I was responsible for the health and well-being of every athlete from 7 through 12, male and female. I had to be at every home athletic event, male and female, 7 through 12, and every away varsity football game. I was at the school more than I was at home. And they allowed me to do that. I mean, there was never any pressure. There was never, I never got an argument from my wife. God bless her. She's gone now, but
I'm sorry about that.
13 years now, but and I was a lucky man there too. I got lucky with her and my two children. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And they just knew you loved it so much too.
Yeah, they realized it, and they stood by me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's the mission right there.
It really is. Like I said, Tim, I'm a lucky man.
Be with someone that supports you and your family as well. It means a lot.
Yeah.
So I got one last question for you, and then we can wrap it up. What you know now, is there anything that you, like, for your younger self, what you know now would you tell your younger self going forward through life?
My daughter, for a Christmas present last year, she did something. I can't remember how you call it, but it was a book, and you did it on the internet. And they would ask you questions, and you would answer those questions. You type them in, and then at the end, you get a book. And one of the questions was exactly what you just asked me.
Really?
And I answered, and there were so many things that I would suggest. And I had the feeling that you might ask me that question. I don't want to go through all the things that I wrote down because I was listening to a speech by Lou Holtz. You remember the name?
The GOAT.
Lou Holtz, when he was giving the graduation speech at Notre Dame. And he made a statement. He said, there are 3 things that I'm going to tell you that you can do to be successful. Just 3 things. I thought, whoa. And he went on, he said, number 1, always do the right thing. Now, you'll know what I'm talking about. In your head and your heart, the right thing. If you don't know what to do, talk to someone. Check with one of your best friends, your teachers, your parents, somebody. Second, whatever you do, no matter what it is, do your very best. Can't ask for more. Just give them your very best. And 3, last, care for people. Care for people. Respect them. I thought, that kind of covers everything, really. There's only one other thing that I would add that's one of the things. Think about this. When you are old, like I am, 85,
You're still young.
you want to look back and you want to have as few regrets as you possibly can. So if you do the right thing, you care about people, you give your very best, it's going to work out for you.
Some great advice right there.
So,
No, I really appreciate it. Well, Mo, I can't thank you enough for giving your time and just coming here. I mean, it's a Thursday night. This will be coming out Thanksgiving week. It's truly an honor because all I've ever heard was good things from you. You got anything else you want to say at all?
No, it's been my pleasure to be here. Thank you so very much for asking me.
You're the man. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Again, this is Moe Thank. Garner Valley Stadium is named after him, and it was a great time talking to you. And I hope you guys tune in.